Hey, what's up, guys? How's
Hello.
it going?
I'm
How
doing
are
all
are you
right.
excited to recap season 3, Jazz?
Man, season three is going to be so good. I'm
It
so
is.
excited for everything coming up. I'm so excited to finally talk about it with people.
I know.
It's going to be a great season. It's well from what we've seen so far.
It's man, they left us hanging. Like,
Yeah.
because we haven't seen the whole season. We've seen the first 4 episodes, and man, did they leave us hanging.
Yeah.
Like,
Um
ah!
the ending of season 2 is one of the biggest cliffhanger endings of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they could not have more anticipation until now, like that we're in the middle and I
Yeah.
have to wait for these episodes.
Oh my god, I just noticed your nickname, Deus Ex Machina. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Thank goodness Alma survived Randall in this episode because I would not be able to stand losing Mrs. Liu and Alma. I'm heartbroken. I'm so heartbroken over losing Tian Chen.
It yeah, it affected me emotionally way more than I was prepared for.
Yeah.
It kicked my butt. I am not a big crier, but I wept wept all the way through that second episode.
Oh god.
Um, yeah, it
There
it
were
me.
there were things that I caught when I watched it back this time that I didn't catch the first time around, like Boyd when they were in the barn, Boyd saying what say it again, or like he said say it again, or what did you say, or something like that.
Yeah,
Um
yeah,
and I God, Harold Perrineau was so great. Like just
a
his
master
utter
class.
devastation. Yeah.
Yeah,
I cried when I watched it back and Kenny was talking to Boyd when he said he wanted to go out with Jim, and Kenny's like,
yeah.
I lost a parent. I don't want Julie and Ethan to lose both of their parents. Like, oh my god, Kenny.
Setting himself up.
God, so heartbreaking. Oh
Yeah,
god. And we just did an interview um with Elizabeth Moy, who plays Tian Chen. I'm not sure. We are recording this early. We're recording this on September 18th. I'm not sure which is our recap is probably going to air first, and then we'll go to. And so by the time you watch this, the interview should probably be up on our channel. There is a part 2 to that interview that's very, very short, but yeah, please check that out. She was an absolute delight. She was wonderful. She gave such thoughtful answers, and I really enjoyed talking with her.
it was a
She was,
great experience.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm just, I'm hoping that maybe we'll see her again on the show. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, I was just thinking about like who's actually dead and like just stays dead, like Nathan, and her husband. Like basically everyone else comes back and is like, "Hello, my baby," like
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
everyone else always has to get their 2 cents in, even though they're dead,
And Katri is even getting haircuts.
right? Changing outfits.
Oh my god. It's hilarious. Well, this episode is called Shatter. And let's just go ahead and dive right in. So we start with Tabitha in the hospital. Dr. Brody explains to her that she's in Camden, Maine. Um, I have so many thoughts on this. We can't really, I mean, well, I guess we can talk about it. Um,
Can we? Should we
yeah,
wait for the
because
spoiler section?
What? Well, I mean, we know where she goes in this episode.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that the faraway tree sent her to Victor's childhood home or
Yeah.
to Victor's
Yeah.
hometown. I mean, that's very, very
It's
fascinating.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Um,
seems to know what it's doing.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. Um, the doctor asks Tabitha her name and she doesn't answer. She says she was found without any ID and she asks, "Can you tell me about anything about what happened to you?" And she asks if there's someone she can call, like a family member, and she says no, which was the right answer because I mean, and then she booked out of there right afterward. She well, then another nurse came in and said that the police were on the way, and I think that's when she's like, "All right, I gotta get the hell out of here because they're gonna ask questions and like, how the hell do I explain? I can't explain
Mhm.
any of this." Um, so she books it the hell out of there. Um, she's clearly very distressed. I mean, she's in tears, she's crying, and she's just trying to wrap her head around everything that happened and, and her family's not with her, so she's kind of overwhelmed. Um, she unhooks her IV, gets dressed, and just, boogies on out of there, and she steps out of the hospital and is walking around town, and I had to make note of this. There's a shop in the background that's called Audrey's Little House of Plants.
Oh,
I absolutely loved that.
I love that.
Yeah, nice Little Shop of Horrors reference.
Yeah.
Um, she sees the boy in white, like, standing there waving to her, um, which I'm kind of confused about.
Yeah. I mean, she's the only one who can see him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
is he a
I
ghost? Is that boy in white is a ghost? Hashtag confirmed.
I don't know, but I mean, we don't see him again in the rest of the episode.
No, he just appears to her
Yeah.
that one time.
I mean, I don't know, maybe he was there to, like, confirm to her that she wasn't losing her mind and that she, like, really came
Yeah.
out of Frumville, I don't know. It's almost like some kind of tether between the 2 worlds in a way.
I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he was just trying to like point her in the right direction, but she doesn't
Yeah.
get to where she needs to be for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't, and, I mean, and the way she gets where she needs to be is kind of like just an obvious thing that would have happened
Yeah,
regardless.
eventually anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but, yeah, she follows after him, almost gets hit by a car while doing so. Um, he seems to disappear into a restaurant, and, Tabitha follows, and, she sees him in line and approaches him and puts her hand on his shoulder, and, it's the classic trope, like, he turns around and it's not him, and the mom's like, "Get your damn hands." Like,
I don't understand why she started talking before she was had confirmation she was grabbing the right child.
yeah.
That just made her look insane, you know. She's like,
Yeah,
"What do you mean?" And the kid's like,
yeah.
"Ah." Speaking of
Yeah, and
which, her acting through this whole scene, like especially with the phone call that's coming up here in a second, like she had me on the verge of tears like the whole time, just like it's great. It's really beautifully done. It was an excellent scene.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so the mom's all like, "Get your damn hands off of him." Um, and, Boyd is, so we go back to Fromville. Boyd is tending to his spider bites, um, which this is, like, the first time that I feel we really got a good look at him. Like, that's pretty nasty looking.
Yeah,
Like, that is
it does not
not
look good.
yeah, not pleasant looking at all. Um And he's imagining Katri with a fresh new haircut.
Mhm. Looking sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks really good in this
Yeah,
episode.
he does.
Um, but yeah, he's imagining Katri there, and Katri, dead dick Katri is just reminding him of how fucked up everything is, and Boyd, he's like, it's getting cold outside. And Boyd's like, we have blankets. He's like, oh, right, the blankets. I forgot about that. I guess everything's fine then. I love that. um, Boyd tells Katri that he doesn't want to panic everybody, and Katri's like, well, maybe you're not panicking enough. Um, and he asks an excellent question, which is, he's like, when I was in that chamber, the thing that was talking to me sure as hell wasn't my wife. So what the hell are you?
Mhm.
And he just says, I can't answer that for you, Boyd. But I still don't think, like, I think Abby is very much a hallucination that the town is giving him to fuck with him.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that, as a completely nobody had mentioned, had, referred to him as avatars in our chat. I think Abby is kind of like an avatar for the town. And I really do think Katri is just Boyd's conscience that is working overtime and manifesting
That makes a lot of
imaginary.
sense.
Yeah. Um, so then we see Tian Chen dragging Ethan back home, and he was apparently out looking for their mom, and it's getting close to dark, so he's getting a little reckless. Um, Julie was looking everywhere for him, and she sees that they found him. Jim tries to talk to her, and Julie just like, I'm going for a walk. Like, she just wants to get the hell out of there. Um, and she looks at him and says, "It's not your fault, Dad." So it was a really strange moment. Like, what did you? I think she's very traumatized.
Yeah, I mean, this is immediately following her, being like mind taken by the town.
Yeah,
It's been what, like a day?
yeah,
Even that, like if it's been, I don't know if it's been a day or if it's been a few hours, but it hasn't been very much time since it let her go. And not only did she wake up from being like mentally attacked by this entity, but also her mom's gone. So she has
yeah,
to be feeling really insecure. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I, 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 I empathize. I feel for Julie. I hope she's doing okay because it's clear
yeah,
she's not,
yeah. She's definitely not doing okay.
yeah,
And we find out a little bit more about her mindset in episode 2 as well, which
yeah,
is just like, it's really kind of heartbreaking. She's dealing with a lot right now.
yeah.
Um, but Jim is getting ready to set out to look for Tabby, and
I'm so mad about that. I'm so mad
um,
about that. Why? To what end, sir?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you're
they
gonna,
didn't
something
find.
happens to you out in the woods, you're gonna leave both your, like,
I don't know
Jim.
what he was. I really don't understand his thought process, because I mean, they hadn't. I mean, I guess he was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess there was a chance that she could be out there, but he knew where she was going,
Yes.
and
What are you,
it,
like? How are you being helpful?
yeah, yeah.
We'll get to
Um,
it. It's in. I have it in my notes extensively, but
but
yeah.
yeah, Boyd is trying to talk him out of it, basically, and Jim Jim's like, I don't know what to do. Like, everything's a mess. Julie won't talk to me. She refuses to talk about what happened to her. And like, they're without their mother. I got to do something. And Boyd's like, odds are she's already. And Jim is just like, don't you fucking dare.
She's fine.
Yeah.
Which is true. She is
Yes.
fine.
Yes. Yes, she is. Um, we then see Fatima in the bathroom puking as a woman is manically pounding on the door. A woman named Mickey. And Fatima finally comes out, and Mickey is yelling that, it's bad enough she's getting double rations, and now she's hogging the bathroom. And Clara tells her to back off. And Mickey's like, eat shit, Clara. I don't know why the way she said it cracked me up.
I was just happy to see Clara. I'm always happy to see Clara.
Yeah.
Everyone's mean to Clara.
I know. I know.
It's like the town punching bag.
I know. And she's got a nice little scar under her eye, but it looks like it's healing. Ellis seems very worried about her. And she, he tells her she's got to eat, and she's like, my stomach just hasn't been right. Donna then grabs Ellis to go harvest the crops, and Ellis is like, it's too soon. But Donna says they lost too many, and she doesn't want to lose the rest of Frost. Meanwhile, Elgin is walking by, and they comment on the fact that they don't think he's slept at all since everything happened. Boyd gives Jim some advice on the best way to go about searching the woods, since he knows he's going to do it anyway. And Kenny decides to go with, and Boyd pulls him outside, and Kenny says he shouldn't go alone. And he's like, and he calls Boyd out on saying that he's like, you're too afraid to go out there. And Boyd argues with him. He's like, no, you are. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think of Boyd as being afraid.
I didn't think of that either. I think, he's there's constantly stuff happening,
Yeah.
like, I don't feel like he's had another opportunity to get back out there.
Yeah.
But I could see that. I could see him not having any desire to go back into the woods, especially after multiple Abby encounters. Like, that has to be disheartening.
Yeah, seriously. And just being out in the woods with Randall would be enough to traumatize anybody. Oh my God. So, he says something really heartbreaking, which is, he lost a parent, and he doesn't want to see Julie and Ethan lose both of theirs, which just absolutely crushed me watching it back.
Yeah.
Oh God. From Don't Break Our Hearts Like This Again, please. They're interrupted by a bottle or something smashing through the window of the bar, and they go inside and find Jade laying on the floor, completely losing his mind. Just
what happened to Jade? Like, it's only been supposed to have been a day since the last episode. Like,
yeah.
And the things he experienced in the tunnel were a lot, apparently.
Yeah, and he clearly, like, he must have been so traumatized that he had to ditch that shirt that he was wearing, because he's back in a cat shirt.
Right. That's his comfort shirt.
Yeah, it's his comfort shirt for sure. But yeah, he's laying there under this maze that he made of, like, thread and scraps of fabric, and just looking at it and muttering to himself and clutching this journal with a symbol written all over it. He's completely out of his fucking mind. Mm-hmm. And they literally drag him out of the bar. He can't even stand on his own. And they decide to take him back to the police station, the sheriff's station. Um, we then cut back to Tabitha, who is still walking around town, and she finds a sidewalk sale. Um, she sees some girls taking selfies, and she asks if she can borrow one of their phones. And I felt so bad for her because she just like the girls are looking at her like, "Oh my god, what's this? Let's get away from this crazy lady."
Those girls
Um,
were great, mean girls.
yeah,
They
yeah,
really
they were.
were.
But she uses the phone to one of them finally gives her their phone, and she uses it to call her mother, which was I thought was really cool. Um,
Mhm.
and
It
she
was
talks to her.
brutal.
It was brutal. Um, you know, her mom was obviously like hysterical to hear from her, and she like basically Tabitha told her that they're all okay, and she wanted to call her to hear her voice and to tell her that everyone's okay and they're trying to get back home. Um, and but, you know, she doesn't tell her about anything because 'cause she'll sound like she's lost her mind.
Yeah.
Um, and she said she misses her and she wanted to hear her voice and she loves her. And, her poor mother, like
I know. It was breaking my heart.
I
I can't,
know.
like, what a difficult conversation. It's a fascinating choice on her part. Like, I get it, like, wanting to let her mom know that she's okay, but, like, on her mom's end, can you imagine how much worse that must feel to have your child go missing for, like, weeks, and then she calls you and is like, "I'm alive, but that's it. Okay, bye."
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows? Like, that's so rough.
I know. But yeah, she gives the phone back and she then sees a church. We go back to Fromville, and Kenny and Christy are stopping by the diner to grab some stuff for Kenny and Jim's journey out. But Tian Chen tries to talk him out of it, and you know she says she really wishes he wouldn't go, and she doesn't want to lose him too. Stop it. Oh God, watching this episode back was so hard.
Really hard.
Um, yeah. Um, Jim's getting ready to take off with Kenny and says goodbye to the kids. He promises them he'll be back soon. Boyd tells them that if they see spider webs, then they're going in the right direction and make sure they get back to the hut before dark. We then cut to Colony House and find that all of the produce is rotten. All of it.
A
And
whole bunch.
the soil is basically poison. And Donna tells Boyd that that's it, they're out of food. Um, we then see the townspeople like swarming the Lou house,
Yeah.
and poor Tian Chen's like trying to hold them off, but they force their way inside, and because she keeps all the rations, and
This was so shitty.
yeah,
Everyone's such a dick.
yeah, I know they really are. Um, so yeah, they just storm in there and they take everything. Um, we then cut to the barn and we see Randall trying to take Alma. Randall, what the fuck?
Alma
Um,
was all over this episode,
yeah.
causing a ruckus.
Oh man. He's trying to take Alma because he wants to slaughter her for food. Ethan is
Like,
begging
you
him to
couldn't pick a different goat, bro?
Yeah, I
Like,
know. I know. Don't pick the one that actually has a name.
I know. The one you know is going to cause a ruckus.
Yeah. Yeah, she must have I think she got a pay cut or a pay bump this episode because she got some extra goat noises in there.
We gave her 2 tin cans.
She got some extra lines and, you know, close-ups
That's
and
so funny.
yeah, she did a good job with negotiating her contract.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, Ethan is begging him to stop, and Victor goes feral and pulls a gun on him.
Victor loves to pull that gun on people. It's crazy more people don't know that it exists because he seems to pull it at a moment's notice.
But before, I think we've only seen him before, like pull it just hesitantly to protect himself. And this
Yeah.
time he was like, "No, motherfucker, I'm going to shoot you in the face if you don't let go of that goat." I like I noticed for some reason I noticed during the scene, Scott McCord has like some of the bluest eyes I've ever
Oh
seen in my
yeah.
life. They were just like striking in the scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he he's got the gun pulled on Randall and he's not messing around. But Boyd calms him down and eventually gets him to give him the gun.
Did you notice all the like townsfolk that are gathered around that all have like baskets and stuff that are waiting and like watching the situation go down? And I'm like, was he gonna slaughter the goat right there and they're just gonna take like, I'll take the leg? Like, what was the plan?
God,
I
I don't
don't,
know.
yeah, the whole situation came off as so bizarre to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's shitty. Um but yeah, so it's Boyd then turns to Randall and basically threatens him. Um and he finally like Randall knows better than to mess with Boyd. He does not stand up to Boyd.
Mhm.
And so he finally backed down and handed Alma over to Boyd after Boyd gave a one of his famous pep talks.
Floyd speeches, yeah.
Yeah. And just says the animals are off limits and like they all need to work together and make the resources last and the only way they're going home is together.
Together, yeah. A Floyd classic.
Yes, yes, exactly. Um, and you can take it from here.
For sure. Out in the woods, Jim thanks Kenny for accompanying him. Kenny says that no thanks is needed, very Boy Scoutly, and they come upon a horrifying human visage in the woods. It is truly
Mhm.
awful to behold.
Yes.
Um, they're the carved wooden faces that you see in the trailer. I've been calling them scarecrows because I don't know what
Yeah.
else they're supposed to be, but they are awful to look at.
That's what it looks like.
Truly terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Um,
really scary looking.
Jim charges in like a white guy in a horror movie,
Oh,
and
wait. Actually, let's back up for a second.
yeah.
Um, I took a screenshot, right,
Oh, nice.
when they find these because I noticed that there's shackles there.
Oh, there are shackles there.
Yeah.
I did not see those.
Yeah, I did not notice those until I watched it back this time. So that's kind of
Interesting.
interesting. They were apparently chaining people up over here,
Oh
right by the
boy,
scarecrows.
that place is creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
Jim charges in like a white guy in a horror movie. Kenny urges him to stop and for them to turn back, but Jim presses forward with the impatience of a man used to being catered to by society. The scarecrows kind of zig and zag in a semi-protective barrier around a bunch of primitive structures. It seems to be the remains of an older town. Um, the cabins are made out of little tree branches. It's kind of just like very handmade looking, old timey.
Yeah.
Uh, Kenny smartly reminds Jim that the sun is starting to go down and they should make their way back to the Talisman Hut. Jim, with the confidence of a man who isn't leaving two small children behind with no parent should he disappear. Says that they should just hang the talisman in one of these huts and stay here for the night. Kenny, like a very smart and capable person, says that if they're going to bunk down there, they should look around and make sure there are no surprises. Jim, the opposite, agrees. I'm not happy with Jim this episode. He's really pressing me. Back in the real world, Tabitha is in a confessional booth in a Catholic church. She tells the priest she's not sure how long it's been since her last confession. She tells him she doesn't know who else to talk to, and she confesses to calling her mom and saying that it probably did more harm than good. She says that nothing that she's been through is possible, and she can't tell anyone who she is because they'll think she's crazy, and she feels like her mind is breaking. The priest kind of butts in to say that, give her like the priest spiel and say that when we reach our limits, God will always be there to break our fall, which I thought was an interesting thing to say to someone who just fallen out of
Yeah.
the lighthouse. It was interesting
Yeah.
choice of words there.
Yeah.
She asks him to stop, saying that if God is real, then he made a place of horrible suffering and that he allowed her baby to fall off that changing table. And she starts to take off, and the priest tries to stop her. He asks her what the name of the baby she lost was, and she tells him it's Thomas. He asks her if she has any other children, and she looks at him kind of confused, and he points out the lunchbox. She says it belongs to a man named Victor who packed her a snack before she left. The priest asks her left from where, and she says a place where monsters come out at night, a place where no one can leave. She describes the story of her arrival, talking about going through the tree and following the boy to the tower. She says her family is still trapped in the terrifying town, and she has no idea how to get back to them or what she's supposed to do now that she's here. The priest asks her what kind of snack Victor packed for her, and she is like, "You think I'm crazy?" Like, she doesn't think that he's buying anything she's saying, but he tells her that he can tell that she's in pain and that he wants to help any way that he can. She opens up the lunchbox and starts taking out the wrapped pack of snacks and like kind of thoughtfully smiling and describing Victor when she sees printed inside an address in Camden, Maine, inside the lunchbox. And she tells the priest she knows where she needs to go, and she takes off out of there, and he still tries to stop her. I don't know why. I really don't know what he wanted, but
I don't know. I think it's great that we found out Victor's last name finally,
yeah.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Victor Kavanaugh, for anybody who did not see that in the lunchbox. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'm glad we finally have a last name for him.
Right? They've had his lunchbox, I feel like, before. It's strange that no one else noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is weird.
At Colony House, Elgin is upstairs knitting with Tilly and trying not to fall asleep. Tilly says that he needs the rest, and Boyd says that it's safe for them to sleep again. He says he feels like someone's watching him, but when he wakes up, he can't remember. The creature appears behind, off in the distance that held him down in the bathtub, and Tilly asks if that's her and says that she looks scary. Yeah.
Oh my God, this made me laugh so hard.
Elgin is terrified as the being begins to reach out towards him to cup his face in her hands that are dripping wet. He sits up, suddenly awake, and Tilly is not there because Tilly can't be trusted. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that Tilly is somehow higher connected to things.
Oh gosh. I think I Dream Tilly was just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that her? She looks scary.
Yeah. It was a good one. There was a poll on the MGM Facebook or the Instagram stories, and it was like who's more trustworthy, and they had paired up like a bunch of different characters, and they paired up Tilly and Elgin, and Elgin was way losing. It was like
What?
59. Yeah, people like trusted Tilly more than Elgin. I
Elgin,
was
the
like,
guy who risked his life for complete
right,
strangers?
right. I was salty about it. I
Yeah.
was like, these people clearly don't know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's shitty.
Several tisks. Anyway, at the Liu house, Boyd, Donna, and Tian Chen discuss the invasion that just happened. Boyd asks if they can get the food back from all the people who stole it, and Donna says it's basically impossible. And even if they did get everything that was taken back, it wouldn't be enough food to last them a week. Donna is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is starting to feel pretty helpless.
Yep.
Um, Boyd asks if this means they should just give up. He asks Donna if she wants to be the one to tell Fatima that her baby's going to starve before it's born. He asks if they start slaughtering the animal. He says if they start slaughtering the animals without a plan, they're done for. They just give up.
Yeah.
Um, he says the animals need to last until they can get a new crop. Donna says that's not going to happen. The soil's poisoned. We can't get a new crop. Tian Chen interjects, trying to de-escalate the rising temperatures and tempers. She says that they should plant a new crop, smaller crops in different places, different soil. Boyd agrees with the suggestion and asks Donna how much time the animals will need to buy them, suggesting 3 months. Donna says if they slaughter the cows one at a time, they'll probably last about a month, maybe more. Boyd asks about the goats just as Ethan comes in.
Terrible timing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Tian Chen sees Ethan enter before anyone else, and he is devastated to hear that Boyd plans to feed it the town the goats and runs away.
Yeah.
Outside, Boyd finds Ethan sitting at the merry-go-round next to the remains of the Matthews house. He asks Ethan if he understands what they were talking about, and Ethan says he does understand that they have to kill the animals to feed the town, but asks if there's any other way. Boyd says he wishes there was, but he doesn't think there will be, and that the animals will be heroes because they are going to be what's keeping everyone alive. Ethan, in a very emo, sad fashion, asks if they can make sure that Alma dies first, and Boyd asks why, and Ethan says so that she doesn't have to watch her friends die. It is devastating.
I know.
Boyd is overwhelmed.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
that was really sad.
It was. It was. Terrible.
Um, Back in the real world, an older gentleman comes home to find Tabitha standing outside his house. He assumes at first that she's trying to sell him something and angrily tells her to go away. She stares at him and recognizes who he is. He turns back to her and is like getting angrier and tries to shoo her off his property. When he suddenly realizes that she's holding Victor's lunchbox, he reacts with great surprise and asks where she got that. And Tabitha says with tears in her eyes, "You're his father. She has found Henry, Victor's dad." I was
Yeah.
shook.
Yeah.
I feel
Whew.
like nobody guessed that, even though he was in the trailer. Like, and it's good
Yeah.
casting. Like they favor each other.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, God, this was such a bombshell, man.
Yeah.
Such a bombshell.
And it blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like we'll see more of this actor, of course, in the upcoming episodes, but he's Robert Joy. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Is
really great actor.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
It's
fantastic.
excellent. I said this already. Excellent casting
Yeah.
on their end. Like
Yeah, for sure.
Knocked it out of the park. Back outside in the horrific primitive murder town, Jim realizes that they must not be going the right way because they haven't encountered the spider webs yet. Kenny asks him what he wants to do, and he suggests getting up to higher ground to get a lay of the land. Outside, something predictably begins to start making noise around their hut. Kenny hushes Jim and pulls his gun out, checking the talisman. The sound seems to be like footsteps circling their cabin for a very tense moment, and then they disappear. Jim, for the first time in the entire episode, realizes how fucking stupid his plan is, and that if he dies out there, he's leaving his children completely alone in a horrible nightmare town.
Yeah.
He says Tabitha wouldn't want him out there, which, duh. Like,
why is Jim always trying to like throw himself into danger?
I know.
Ridiculous.
You have children.
Yes.
Like, oh, it's
God.
the fact that it only occurs to him when they're already out in the middle of the woods, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he
Ugh.
tells Kenny they'll head back to town in the morning. Outside at night in town, the creatures are stalking around. Miss 50s opens the pen while the milkman opens the barn door. Something is afoot. At the sheriff's station, Boyd pours himself a glass with Cautry's alcohol with a shaking hand. Jade wakes up from his stupor and sees what Boyd is drinking. Jade says Boyd's been holding out and asks him where it came from. Boyd says that Cautry buried it with a chocolate bar and a bloody shirt.
Great explanation.
Yeah.
But if you're going to explain that to anybody, Jade's the best one to do it, because Jade will just be like, okay.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Jade isn't fazed by anything at this point.
Jade says Boyd has been... Oh, wait, I lost my place. Sorry. Jade questions this, and Boyd says it's a long story. He asks if Jade is ready to discuss what's going on with him, but he says he isn't sure if he's there yet. But he doesn't think that they're doing very well. Boyd sees something moving at the window and realizes that the cows have gotten out. He checks for monsters and then runs outside with Jade following him, protesting. He says they have to get the animals back in the barn, and they'll put up a talisman and stay in the barn if they have to. Jade shouts that the goats and sheep have also begun to run down the street. The commotion attracts Victor and Tien Chen, who hear the ruckus and rush to help. Tien Chen tells Julie to lock the doors behind her, and they run outside as Ethan protests them leaving. They help grab the sheep as Boyd directs them to rush the cows up to the barn. The noise outside wakes up Randall in the bus, who is looking out the window to see the commotion. He also sees the monsters begin to arrive and surround the group, trying to rescue the animals. He starts honking the horn on the bus to let them know that the monsters are here and shit is about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
This whole sequence, from the time that from the time they open the barn door to the end of the episode, was just like so stressful and like edge of my seat, nails on the couch, like
so stressful and terrifying. Yeah. Like,
yes,
we saw the monster faces this time. We don't get to see them all that often,
No, it was a scary sequence. The whole thing, really stressful.
Yeah, it was.
The sound of the horn honking brings Ethan to the window just in time to see Alma run down the street in front of the house. He is shocked to see his friend in danger and rushes to throw open the door. Julie tries to stop him, but isn't fast enough to prevent him from opening the door to reveal the old woman monster waiting on the front porch. Julie tries to slam the door, but is overpowered, and they run outside as the old woman pursues them, asking if they want to play a game. She drops her old lady face to reveal the monster underneath. Ethan and Julie begin to run when they are grabbed from behind. They turn around in terror, but it is Sarah who's there to help. She shushes them and pushes Tim and Julie into the bushes. Just as the monster steps outside, she can't find them and lets out a evil monster cry.
Yeah,
This
I have to wonder, like, I have to wonder if Ethan was completely terrified because, you know, he didn't know who was grabbing him, and then when he realized it was Sarah,
Yeah, right?
like, what's
They had
happening?
to fear being caught by a monster.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I did. It was stressful. The group continues to herd the animals towards the barn. Victor and Tianchen have the goats and sheep pretty much in hand, but Jade's cow has stalled out. He calls to Boyd for help, and the monsters begin to close in. Boyd tells him to get out of there now, and the milkman approaches and easily slits the throat of the cow in front of Jade while he looks on in horror.
That
Victor
was
grabs
rough.
Jade. Yeah, it was gross. That poor cow.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean, I know
god.
the cow wasn't harmed, but
Yeah.
it
It was
looked
rough.
real gross.
If you're an animal lover, it's rough to watch.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was
oh
yucky.
god. Yeah.
Um, Victor grabs Jade and pulls him away as the milkman creature screams into the night. The old woman creature searches for the kids while the cheerleader shows up to join her. The kids cower in the woods nearby watching, and then Sarah instructs them to run. They dart off to the side and are spotted by Randall, who calls them over to the bus. They rush over and he pulls them into safety. The monsters continue to advance on the group, rounding up the animals. Boyd tells them to get the animals into the bar. Uh, Victor and Jade kind of split off and take the cows and sheep and get them into the bar. Tian Chen rushes over to help Boyd get his cow moving. He tells her to go back, but she refuses, insisting to help him pull the stubborn cow. They just barely make it into the barn before the advancing monsters. Tian Chen settles the cow while Boyd locks the door and hangs the talisman. And just for a second, you think they've made it. When
Well,
suddenly,
we did see that trailer.
yeah,
As soon as I
yeah,
saw them walking into the barn, I was like, "No."
yeah,
Oh.
it was not great.
Yeah. Ugh.
Suddenly, a group of monsters led by Cowboy Hat Fella reveal themselves to be hiding in the barn. They realize in horror that they've trapped themselves in with several monsters. The Cowboy Hat Fella reminds Boyd that how he said that this town couldn't break him. The monster seize the two of them and separate them. They take Boyd's handcuffs and chain him to a pole. The cowboy monster continues to taunt Boyd, saying he claimed not to be able to be broken. We'll see. And they begin to torture Tian Chen.
Oh,
It sucks.
oh god.
Boyd begs for them to stop and asks for them to kill him in her place, but they refuse and continue to torture Tian Chen to death, forcing Boyd to watch. That is the end
Ugh.
of the episode. And it
That
is one of the most gruesome TV deaths I've ever seen.
yeah. You know what though? I have to say I'm really glad that because this whole sequence, they didn't seem like they were interested in killing anybody. They had a plan.
Yeah,
They wanted to get I don't know if they were specifically targeting Tian Chen, if they knew that that was gonna happen because they seem to know, you know, they seem to know everything. But,
yeah,
you know, that it was it was part of the plan. So like the milk, I don't think the milkman, for instance, was going to kill Jade. He just wanted
No,
to kill the cow in front of him. Um, but
we were just trying to chase him into the barn.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they were trying to get them into the barn, and because they knew they were going to get the animals back into the barn, and so for that reason, I'm really glad that as much as it was like just completely terrible to watch, I'm glad that they at least like we saw them hurt her in a way that's pretty fatal.
yeah.
um because otherwise I feel like there would be people, like, is she actually going to die? Like, what if they just torture her but don't kill her?
Well, we know
Um
they bring a corpse back from the barn
yeah,
too.
yeah, that too.
So I think, well, pretty much once Tian Chen was outside, I was like, she's done for. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh
it's
god, just so heartbreaking. And like, oh my god, Harold Perrineau was just fucking brilliant.
uh,
Like,
it was haunting. His begging and ugh, yeah, it's hard to
oh
discuss. It was so effective. It really like hurt me as
yeah,
a viewer.
yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, his I mean, her death is sad enough, but his performance just like,
Yeah,
oh my god,
they
put it
knocked
over
it
the
out of the
top.
park. It was
Yeah.
it. I really didn't want it to be Tianchen. I kind of knew it was going to be going in, but I don't think they could have made a more powerful choice.
Yeah.
Like I care about all those characters, but I feel like she's probably the person whose death is the most effective. Like she is kind of like the heart of the town,
Yeah.
you know, and it's going to be so much harder for everyone without her, not just Kenny, but the whole town. Like everyone's going to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of equated her character to Jim, my husband, as she's almost kind of like the Herschel from
Yeah,
The Walking Dead. She's kind of like almost like the Herschel of the show.
yeah.
Um
The
and
moral center.
what's up?
The moral center.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and they always give those people like just such horribly gruesome deaths.
yeah.
Herschel had a really brutal death. Tian Chen had a really brutal death. It's just like the more beloved, the worse it's gonna be. They're gonna make it bad. And unfortunately, well, we'll get to we'll do a mini spoiler section in a bit. But yeah, I just want you guys to remember to keep in mind that because I missed it the first time around. Boyd, she was talking. She was saying something in Cantonese, and
Mhm.
Boyd was asking her to repeat it. Um, so he clearly wanted to remember what she was saying, which is just God, just Boyd for sainthood.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this man like just can't be any more perfect. Oh, yeah. So we're heartbroken and uh, we hate you right now, From. We love you, but we hate you.
Yeah,
Uh,
that that is the truth.
yes. But I I mean, the season is so good though so far. It
It
is
really
so good.
is.
So
It's
exciting.
just I've said this before, but like if they get the buzz this season, they're gonna get Emmys. It's
Mhm.
so good.
Yeah. Harold Perrineau totally deserved an Emmy.
He really does. The
Yeah.
performance is like nothing else on TV right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Um,
Yeah, Pancakes Box.
yeah. Yeah, who's getting your pancakes this week?
I'm gonna give him to Tien Chen, both because it's the last time I might be able to give him to her, and because like she was incredibly brave.
Yeah.
Like she did not have to go outside. She didn't have to put herself in that position at all. There was no reason for her to, but she knew how dire the food situation was, and she knew how stressed Boyd was about keeping the people fed, and she wanted to help. And like it's really beautiful that she kind of sacrificed herself to, you know, help make sure that other people didn't go hungry.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
She gets my
Yeah.
pancakes because it sucks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, she gets all the pancakes this week just because
Yeah.
we love her and she's not gonna have another chance to get the pancakes.
I also give a short stack to Kenny because Jim probably would have died without him. So
Yes. Yeah, he would be my second choice. I would yeah, Kenny would be my second choice for that. Um, let me guess, you're putting Jim in the box.
yeah. How did you know? What a surprise! Yeah, hardcore naked in the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making
I
me
mean,
feel
Brandon's still
safe.
in his forever box. So,
Yeah.
like, we can't really
Randall was actually helpful this episode. At least he kept the kids from dying. Unlike Jim, is nowhere while your kids are getting almost murdered by being stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of Jim is definitely being a dumbass, but I'm kind of feeling for him at the same time,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a shitty situation, absolutely. Like, I'm sure he regrets telling Tabitha to go, but
Yeah.
like, you can't, like, you're gonna run off and leave him with no parent.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna, like, either, like, make Julie a 17-year-old parent or make Tin Chen responsible for their care, which she's gone now, kind of
Mhm.
because of like, not that like Kenny necessarily could have prevented what happened, but like, who knows how it could have gone down differently if they would have been there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, imagine if Jim died, it would be Kenny and Jade, like, looking after the kids,
Yeah.
which is so bizarre. Such a bizarre
Yeah.
thought. Um, but, yeah, yeah, Randall's still in his forever box. So, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Mickey. I'm gonna put Mickey in the box because man, she needs to learn some patience. And don't
Yeah.
tell Clara to eat shit.
Yeah. She
That was
sucks.
not nice. That was not very nice. Fuck you,
No, it
Mickey.
was not. I agree with that.
Fuck you, Mickey. You get in the box with Randall. um, but yeah. Episode 2 is titled When We Go, which is obviously a reference to the conversation that Chen Chen had with Jade and all that stuff that he told her.
Yeah.
And
It's fine.
I don't know how I'm gonna get through talking about episode 2 because it
I
just
know.
got episode 2 ripped my fucking heart out.
I'm so glad I get to do the first half.
Oh god. Yeah, it's just it's bad. It's bad. It's
It's really I cried the whole episode. I
yeah.
cried from the Ethan and Victor scene on to the whole episode. Just whips like a little baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. Um all right, well, I'm gonna give you a little warning here and we're not gonna give you like spoilers, but we'll talk a little bit, compare like stuff in the trailer and everything, that kind of stuff. So if you don't want to know anything, then tune out now, and we will see you next week. Otherwise, stick around. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Um, so yeah, so what like what are your thoughts on Tabitha, like just
It's
miraculously ending up in Victor's town?
it's incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
I I was shocked with like the way it turned out. Um, I thought they'd spend more time in the hospital. I think a lot of people did. I
Yeah.
thought the hospital would be more involved, but I love that she ended up finding Victor's family. It makes me wonder if maybe Victor's family is more deeply connected to the overall town. Like maybe some other parts of his family are responsible for like things that are happening there. I don't know, but it seems like his family has a connection to the more of a connection to the town than maybe even the surviving members currently realize they do.
Yeah. Well, we get a fascinating backstory
Yeah.
in the next episode, which is just kind of mind blowing. Um, and just like it's people are going to be really fascinated by that whole thing and are just going
Yeah.
to like just eat it up because it's like I was just sitting there with my jaw hanging up. I mean, it was we get a lot
It
of
blew my mind.
we get a lot of insight into the town and and Victor's family, and it's really really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
um I mean, we don't get like a lot of solid answers or anything like that, but I mean, we get a lot of insight. um and we will see everyone dealing with the aftermath of Tian Chen's death, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Um, and you're also going to find out why Kenny threw that buster tray at the jukebox, because holy fuck,
So that scene. That
once you
scene.
find out what comes out of the jukebox, you'll be like, you're going to want to smash your TV.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's
Jukebox is a
awful.
dick, man.
Oh my god, yeah. That town is such a dick. Um, but anything on your mind that you want to tease without that won't be too much of a spoiler?
um Sarah and Victor have one of my favorite scenes of the whole
Yes.
series so far
Yeah.
that I was not anticipating. Like I really love that whole pairing and the reason why they pay. I don't want to spoil anything. I want people to hear it as it happens because it's so funny, but the reason for the pairing is great.
Yeah.
The two actors together are fantastic, and it was really like something that caught me off guard. It was not something I was expecting to see happen, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I honestly thought like I liked Sarah in that scene more than I ever have before.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely,
I thought they like I just thought I had thought they really had great chemistry together.
yeah,
And yeah, it was a great scene. It was a fantastic scene. And um Victor made me laugh a couple of times and also kind of made my heart break. And um but yeah, it's I this season is going to heavily revolve around Victor, I think.
yeah,
It's going to be a big
definitely.
part of it. Um and we will also it's next week, right, that we meet the other new character, or is it the week after?
Week after.
The week after. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we'll meet the other new character in a couple of weeks. Um, and her introduction is pretty fascinating. It's pretty exciting.
Commentary.
Yeah. Um, but all right, well, I guess that's it for now. Um, Wild start to the season, and it's just gonna, it's
Continues to be wild.
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we've only seen the first 4 episodes, but I mean, where we left off in episode 4 was just like, oh, it's just killing me. I need that next episode so
Yeah.
bad. So bad.
I
Um,
cannot wait to get them.
yeah, I know. All right. Well, we're signing off for now, and we will see you guys soon. Take care.
Have a good one.